Ladies and gentlemen, Javier here with the real Javier Novoa at the great Whole Foods supermarket. Give a shout out to John Mackey here. I was just doing some work here, and in the next week we are going to be coming out with our next videos, getting into the precise nitty-gritty steps that you can take for rapid lifestyle transformation in terms of minimalism, in terms of stoicism, in terms that you can more quickly and more easily achieve than you thought possible. And this video is just sort of like a preliminary to that. I wanted you to start thinking along these veins. Actually, I want you to start journaling on this. And of course, I am offering my services as a coach in coaching calls where we can explore these modalities in more personalized detail. But as a service to the public, I do want to release these videos on a regular or semi-regular basis where we can actually go into how to transform your lifestyle with this modality of minimalism and stoicism and utilizing the principles of law of assumption and law of attraction. So as we went through in our last video, you want to be giving yourself a very clear picture of what to focus on. And then you want to ask yourself, how would it feel to be in that state? And for the moment, we were just talking about homestead here. Of getting somewhere in a safe place. And I'd recommend, if you have not bought the book Safe Places by Joel Skousen, I recommend that you purchase that book and read that book, because it's going to give you ideas of places where you can move perhaps if you're not in a safe place. And these safe places are determined due to demographic trends, due to geographical factors, and due to environmental factors, places where, due to what is coming on this film roll, you will be the most safe. And that is definitely an aspect of what you want to look at as you go on to deciding where you want to live and how you want to spend this time and how you want to spend these resources. So, of course, the only thing you really need to do is to get into that state, is to imagine it, is to feel the state and feel it real, and then, of course, all of that will surround you without you having to take any effort. Of course, going just briefly into the modality of film rolls, and I was talking about this with a coaching client earlier. When we're on a film roll, of course we know from the works of Vadim Zeland, and we know from physics, that the script of that film roll is written, for it must be so. That's self-evident, because a film roll is simply a chain of cause and effect in the universe. And all of these chains exist in potential. But when you focus on them and when you light them up, that's when you give life to that chain, so to speak. It starts moving, and it starts moving of its own inexorable motion and force. So while you're on that film roll, you have to follow the script on that film roll. Trying to resist the script on a film roll, trying to say, oh no, I'm not in it, or trying to say, let me change the script, that is simply counterproductive. You're swimming against the current. And in this channel we teach the watercourse way. You want to swim with the current. So what do? What can we do when we're in a situation where we can't afford to change our environment and surroundings, but we want to? What if we're stuck for whatever reason, due to debt, or due to not having any money, or due to not having work, or whatever other horrible circumstance is upon us in the film roll that we're in, and being, of course, caught up in this grid. But we want to leave the grid. We want our freedom and independence. And we cannot just conceive of the opinion that only the wealthy, or only those who have means or the well-off, are able to get off the prison grid. That's not a spiritual proposition, because everyone, of course, is able to get off the prison grid. How do we do it? We do it by going on the inner. But we won't have any energy to focus on the inner and to focus on another film roll if we're struggling against the film roll we're on. So what do we do in that case? We have to follow the script. What does that mean? If you have a job, and every time you think about quitting that job, because quitting that job would free up your schedule in a hurry, but you still have that emotional pull of saying, if I don't have this job, then I won't have enough to live on. And in fact, I'll be destitute. And probably I won't even have a place to stay. If you think that, ladies and gentlemen, you are on a film roll where that is indeed the case. So we would never recommend that someone quit their job unless they felt absolutely certain about doing so, unless they felt satisfaction in the thought of doing so, and unless they had faith in the consequences, because all it is a matter of belief and faith. If you have complete belief that if you quit this job, something will be waiting for you on the other side, indeed it will, ladies and gentlemen. It has nothing to do with the outer. It's all about what goes on within you, because all of these film rolls are moving within you. But of course, your body will tell you whether or not you have this belief. And in our channel, we go into the fact that it's not always beneficial to try to change beliefs, because changing beliefs is effort also. It takes a lot of effort, and it takes a lot of energy, and oftentimes you're simply fighting this battle of duality within your body. And of course, as we know from the scale of being and the spiritual levels and so on, there exists no duality. And when you recognize duality, you're simply giving your energy to that, and you're giving your power to the pendulum of duality. So how do we transcend duality? By staring it in the face. And by actually acting out that script on that film roll until we feel as if we're going with the flow, and then our minds are silent. It's like one great spiritual teacher talked about, Don Keathley, when he actually cured his heart condition. He had a clogged artery in his heart, and he actually was able to create a bypass artery. What he did was he put a picture up of a heart, and he would focus upon that, and he said, I command you to function well. Of course, we could go into the whether it's positive or negative to have commands and so on and so forth, but it did work to get him into that state. But what did he do? He didn't say, I'm not going to take the medicine prescribed by my doctor. He did take the medicine prescribed by his doctor. He said he did this to shut his mind up. Because if you believe that you should be taking medicine, and there are indeed good reasons against this, of course I'm not a medical expert, so take it for what it's worth. But there are good reasons against this, because most medications are placebos, and most of them do more harm than good, according to researchers in that field. But if you have belief, because society has inculcated us in this medical grid from birth, if you have a belief that you need to take a certain medication, and even if you have the thought that, no, I don't have that belief, but your body will tell you whether you have that belief. If you have that belief, then you should not resist that. You should do it. You should follow the script. But while you're following the script, you then need to ask yourself, and this is where journaling comes in handy, what are the resources I have right now in this film roll? What can I do even on this script to make this script better? And oftentimes there are many things that you can do that have no resistance, that are very easy and require little action, that will change that script and actually make it better. And when you make the script better, ladies and gentlemen, not only are you not struggling against it, you're loving it, and therefore you're able to move two different film rolls. That's why we encourage the actions and the preparations and so on that we're recommending on our channel. It's not for the fact that action creates reality, because it doesn't. It's not that the fact that you have to take any effort, because you don't. But what you do need to do is free your energy up, because as Peter Sage said, complaining is the glue that keeps you in your current situation. What we can adapt to this philosophy is negative emotional resistance to a script is the glue that keeps you on that film roll. So, all of the concrete actions that we're recommending that you take are so that you can follow this script. Because what you want to do is you want to learn to love the script you're on. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you're in a job you hate, but have to go into it, if you're on medication that you don't want to be on, but yet feel that you have to be on that medication, if you're an alcoholic and hate being an alcoholic, but yet feel compelled to take a drink, you don't have to right now stop doing anything. And in fact, we wouldn't recommend that you stop doing anything. The only thing that you have to do is follow the script, but then ask yourself, what are some tiny improvements that I can make that are within this film roll that can make it a little bit better and indeed allow me to love this film roll? That's ironic. It is a paradox, and we did go into paradox in one of our videos, but it does work, ladies and gentlemen. And the moment you do that, the moment you love where you are, you're free. So about the prison grid, the moment you see the prison grid for what it is and recognize that you're ensnared in it, and then love that because it's actually part of what it means right now to be on this film roll and to be human, you're immediately out of it. And then you can see your life from out of it, and you can observe yourself outside of it. So where is all this going? I want to recommend a few journaling exercises today. I want you to take, before we go into next week's series on the actual logistics of figuring out exactly where you want to live, we're going to tell you how to find cheap land, how to find safe places. Do you want to live in a house in the beginning, or do you want to actually get a mobile home? Or for some single people, some people have even started living in vans just for a temporary period so that they could save up enough resources to then get a homestead, and so on and so forth. Of course, it's not going to be for everybody, but you have to start asking yourself the tough questions in journaling, a little bit tough. We want you to push yourselves a little bit here. What if I could make any decision that I wanted? What if I was free and uninhibited in my location? What could I do that could cut down on some of my expenses? If you're in debt, you should ask yourself, do I indeed have to pay off these debts? What would be the worst case scenario or circumstance if I didn't pay off these debts? Okay, these debts that I now have to pay off, is there a way I could start paying off $2 a month on that? $3 a month? $4 a month? I want you to really explore this. What we want you to do, ladies and gentlemen, is accept that you're on the film roll you're on. This is just during the journaling period, by the way. Because when you're outside of your journaling and your energy's free, I don't want you even to live in this film roll. I want you to live in your imagination most of the time. I want you to be in state of what you want to create most of the time. But for when it starts pulling on your energy, and when you recognize that you're in this film roll, and when you're doing your journaling exercises, I want you to teach yourself to love this film roll. That's right. I want you to accept the film roll that you're on, and then I want you to uncover the assets and opportunities that you have in your life that you didn't even know you had because you're not focused on it. That's right. There are assets that you have right now on this film roll where you wouldn't even have to move off this film roll onto another film roll to start unfolding those assets and to start unfolding these opportunities. What are talents that I have? If you want to start earning an income, forget about even earning $1,000 a month. I want you to start thinking in terms of $50 or $100 a month. What's a talent that I have? What's a gift that I have? What's some knowledge that I can start sharing with others? What's some skill or hobby that I can start sharing with others? For example, my wife is very good at altering dresses and clothes, and she has started using that as a supplement to her income. And she's doing and altering dresses and so on and so forth. For those of you who are in my area who would like to avail yourself of her services, we can give you the contacts on that because she's very good at what she does. She's using that to supplement income, and this is bringing more income in and more possibilities in to our going off the grid and to our becoming completely independent. Because the film roll that you're on, ladies and gentlemen, is in your mentality and in your state, the film roll that's unfolding already, but you can't find it most of the time because you're absorbed on this film roll. You're absorbed trying to fight this film roll. It's a film roll in which your schedule is completely and absolutely free. It's a film roll where your income does not depend on your effort, and you cannot even link your income with any effort because all you're doing all day is what you want to do. And of course, you're still doing a few things that you don't want to do. That's part of growth and expansion, but you're figuring those out with the tools that we set up in this course. You're already on a film roll of complete freedom, and you can tap into that right now. But in the meantime, I want you to craft a way to be the best that you can be in this film role, because it can improve a lot. The current film role that you're on can improve a lot, and that starts by taking the first step. It starts by saving a small amount of money, as big as you can manage, but not big enough to where it intimidates you. It starts by investing very small quantities of money in things that you want to invest. It starts by testing your feet in the waters of entrepreneurship. What business can I start? How can I start it so small that I don't need any money to start it? Because again, as the great Peter Sage says, you don't need money. You need a better strategy. How can I create better strategies? How can I get better at generating ideas and following up with those ideas and taking action? How can I just take action and not care about the circumstances? Because when you take action without thinking, ladies and gentlemen, that's just an action of flow. And there's always going to be a positive circumstance to that action. But if you think about it too much, you're going to be paralyzed. So these are just some thoughts. How can we improve the film role that we're on so much that we actually love the present reality? We start loving everything about our present reality, and then lo and behold, we get on to that new reality. So please subscribe and like to our channel, ladies and gentlemen, if you find value in these materials. We are doing coaching calls. We are setting up our websites and our other networks so that we can get this message out to as many people as possible. So we'll see you very soon with great love and appreciation. This is Javier. We are going to be making some more videos this weekend, so stay tuned to The Real Javier Novoa. Subscribe and like. We'll see you soon.